Now we are going to create a few methods which will allow us to run transactions. What transactions are in MySQL? Basically, try to imagine a situation where you have to add order record, then associated items of this order, or let's say you want to update two tables at the same time, which you cannot do with one SQL statement. This is why what you're going to be doing is, in this situation, you're going to start transaction, then execute several SQL statements, and then simply create a commit, which will execute all of these in one go. Now, what we will be able to do with this approach is, if this specific block of SQL statements failed for any reason, then we can basically reverse back to its original state before these SQL statements have been called. Basically, let's say the first one executed okay, so we would already have obviously the record in the database, but a second one failed, and obviously doing it this way, the first execution would be saved in the database and would have the record which doesn't basically refer to, which hasn't got any child records. Let's say if we're talking about product order and products associated with this. Now obviously order would be placed, but there would be no products associated with this because the second statement has failed. But by simply using the rollback, which we can use with the transaction, rollback what does is basically reversing everything back to its original state. So obviously the first statement would also be removed and so on. So to start with, we're going to start with the first method, which we'll simply call begin transaction. So it's going to be public function begin transaction. And inside of this method, we start with if is object, and we check in this underscore PDO object. Oops. If it isn't, then what we do, we simply call connect method to create the connection to the database, and then we simply use this PDO object begin transaction. So the method associated with the PDO class is also called begin transaction. We're going to keep it this way to keep it consistent basically with the original PDO class. So that's our begin transaction method. In the next video, we're going to create the following ones.